Hello once again, welcome back to the channel. We are once again in the car, which means we have seen yet another new movie. Tonight's new movie was none other than the latest psychological horror film starring none other than Channing Tatum, Blink Twice. I am in the car, of course, with my co-host DJ. DJ, what did you think about Blink Twice on a score of 1 to 10?
7.
Absolutely solid, I agree with you, but I'm going to bump it up, 7.5.
Fair enough.
It is a very good story, very interesting plot. The direction is really good. The cinematography is excellent. They have a lot of really good shots. The humor is on point. Like, for a horror film, humor is something that's very, very important, and they do it very well in this film. The acting is great. Dialogue is pretty good, and overall, it's just a very solid film. It's not great. It has its issues, but overall, very solid experience. 7.5 out of 10.
For me, it has a really good pace setting. A lot of films that, especially the new modern horror, we've seen A21 do this and some other stuff. The pacing, thank you. The pacing tends to dip a little bit. You'll get like kind of a good go, and then it'll kind of just drop off and come on. This one stays steady beat until it hits the note where it needs to. And then from then on, the tone changes just like it should. This is the kind of film that you expect a thriller with a good tone shift, and it does it very smooth. Yeah. Just some good character work, really good. This didn't feel like acted out. This felt like these were real people, like dealing with the situation the way they would.
Right, and it wasn't just like an overarching kind of thing where it's like you could kind of break the illusion and be like, okay, it's an actor on a set. It was very small things.
Yes.
Like, all of the actors did very good, just subtle changes in facial expressions, subtle changes in even, like, the eyes. Yeah. Like, that is
like
one
they were
thing
having real conversations.
Yeah.
It almost felt like a good chunks of the film felt like they literally just recorded people having conversation at dinner. It didn't feel pushed and scripted. I think a lot of this might have just been ad-libbed a bit. A lot of just ad-libbed conversation and stuff because it feels more natural. Like conversations, there's interrupting, people kind of cut in. It feels like real-world dialogue, which oftentimes can feel a little jarring in a film. But this kind of film, this is the kind of film where you want people to feel like they're in a real situation.
Absolutely.
Because that's the whole point of a movie like this, is to take real and then break it. And if it doesn't feel real ahead of that, it feels scripted, or it feels like laid out, it doesn't hit the same.
Yeah. The atmosphere and immersion is very, very important for a film that is this high tension.
Yes.
It goes, like you said, it's very solid, but the solidness of it is unsettling.
Yes.
There's something off. And it plays it very well that there is something off, but you can't quite get what it is. And then when the reveal happens, the twist comes around, the shift goes, it dips, and then it goes straight into like an all-out downhill slide of intense tension into intense climax.
It's just a really well done, well, it was before the twist, but it's like, it feels surreal with camera work almost alone. They do a really good job of camera work and editing in a way that makes it feel just not really jarring, like makes it feel high and low, really, really opposite way. That's probably all I can really say without spoilers, but it's good. It's a good film, and it's a good thriller horror film, and it's definitely it's a fun like popcorn flick, especially like for like a date night or for like friends to just go and see a fun film.
Yeah,
this is a good one. This is one of those that isn't a superhero movie or isn't like one of the big thriller ones. It's just one of those. This is like Knives Out or Get Out or Glass Onion, or
it is very much a Get Out.
Yeah, where it's like it's a mystery or thriller, but with horror elements that's designed to just keep your heart up.
Yep.
It's good time.
Yep, good time. Definitely recommend if you're going to see it. You would benefit from seeing it in the theaters, or at the very least renting it when it comes out onto other streaming platforms. Other things that we recommend, let us know what your thoughts are in the comments below about Blink Twice. Leave us a like if you like this video. What movies are you looking forward to as we're moving into the end of the year? We are leaving the summer blockbuster season behind. So some films may be a little bit more sporadic. We do try to see a film once a week, but with the release schedule the way that it is, we might have some gaps. So if there is something that you want us to review, be sure to drop it in the comments below. We'll make sure to make it a priority for the week that it comes out. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and we'll move into spoilers. Spoilers. I cannot believe that not only is this film like chock full of like amazing references to completely fictitious events that definitely never happened in real life, but on top of that, it actually had a reference to a movie that came out 2 weeks before. When Channing Tatum shows up on the island, he literally says that he's about to make a name for himself right here. And he does. This film is it's so good. Like the premise is that they're forgetting things. Like in the trailers, they mention the fact that people are forgetting things, and the way that they bring it about actually is very creative. Like it's like the moment they figure it out,
the trailer
it just
actually does
makes
this
sense.
a little injustice because it gives you a little bit of the eerie away because they mentioned that there's something wrong in the thing. But they do, I mean, trailers do that to a little bit of extent. But what makes this film work, even with that little bit of spoilage from the trailer, is that they make sure you understand there's an air of eeriness the entire time. It doesn't let you get comfortable. The camera work thing and cutting and editing I was talking about is every time it comes up with them doing the party at night, and then it resets to the next day. And you just, there's no transition. It never watches them sleep. No, it's just... They're at night, like, having their dinner party, and then she wakes up the next morning. And that's how it goes every time. You're like, that's odd. and then that's just where it starts.
Yeah, and also it's just like, it's things in like the background. If you're paying attention to just like watching little details and stuff like that, that's when you start noticing like, okay, that's a little bit off. That seems a little bit odd. That's kind of weird that that's over there. Like they point out like there's injuries that the girls have sustained, and they don't remember what it is. There's injury, like...
Some of the guys.
Some of the guys have injuries like a giant black eye.
One has a black eye, one had like a bite mark on him. Yeah. One of the girls had a bruise. There was like some scarring on some of them, and it was like just really random.
Yeah.
Like weird stuff that they point at it and they're like, "Oh, that's weird. Where'd that come from?" Well, I don't know. It's weird. And they just kind of brush it off. And it's like, okay, like,
yeah.
and then there's no concept of time. Like, it makes it clear. Like, we as the audience, as you're watching, you know it's all wrong, but you don't know what is wrong.
Right. And
you don't know if are they dreaming? Is it surreal? Is it, or maybe it is just fine, or maybe because they do a lot of partying and drugs and stuff, and so they hurt themselves doing things like, oh, okay, like they give you just enough of an excuse you can buy it.
Yeah, exactly. And so when they're kind of coming to these realizations of things that are happening, it's like it's being revealed to you too. Like they literally lay almost everything out. Like that's the thing that's really good about this film too, is that if you're going to do a really intense twist and a weird MacGuffin kind of thing, you have to lay it out throughout the entire film so that people look at that and they go, oh, okay, that makes sense. It's like twists work really well. Like the Sixth Sense, the twist works really well because it's aware of the fact that that is the twist, and so there's enough of it being shown to you that you go, oh, it makes sense that
you retroactively realize everything, and
and it lines up, and you go, oh, okay, that's a smart twist.
That's a good mystery, horror, and thriller films all fall into talk with that, because when you make like a mystery thriller or like a mystery horror or something like that, you want all the pieces to fit together. You want to leave these clues, and then when you get the answer, everything behind it makes sense.
Yeah,
and it does. They make a big deal of these snakes that are on the island, a lot, and then one of the girls gets bit by them, and it turns out that the venom that the snakes make is the antidote to the forgetfulness.
Yep.
And
the other thing too is
poof, and one of them remembers in it.
Yeah, and the forgetfulness is in the perfume, and they made this really pretty luxury perfume that smells really good, and it's in all of their rooms. So naturally, all of the girls having, clothes and things provided to them assume, oh, the perfume's provided, and oh, it smells nice, I'm going to put it on. And they put it on every single day because it's just this pleasant thing. It's a pleasant thing that becomes part of the routine. And that's what is causing the forgetfulness. When they experience trauma, whatever chemicals are in the perfume activate, and they forget the most traumatic things that are happening.
The other thing that's interesting about it is there are these little clues that I started piecing together as I went, and some of them I didn't really realize right at first, but I realized. So there's a couple of sneaky clues they put in there. For one, I think they were putting the stuff in their food as well, because when he goes to eat, they go to eat the meat, and only the girls ate it, and he's like, no, I don't eat red meat. Like, there were these little clues where they were eating things that the guys weren't eating, and then so it looked like they were like tainting, like they wanted to make sure, put it in the food, put it in the perfume, put it in the drinks. Yeah. And the other thing is it implies, I don't know if it actually ever states it, but it implies, I think, that the flowers are where the comes from, because they're native only to that island.
Yep.
And the flowers is where they get the perfume from. But
and they hand them perfume. They hand them flowers all the time. They almost always have a flower or something.
They have the flowers on them. It's like they're making very sure that the girls get drugged. Like they get them drunk. They get them on drugs. So, and then they give them the flowers, the perfume, and probably put it in their food and stuff as well.
Well, they're using it as a garnish in the food. They're using it as a topper on the drinks. It's one of those things where, because that is the MacGuffin and that's the twist, they just lay it out, and it becomes this natural thing, because when you're watching it, you're just like, oh, okay, it's native to the island. That's no big deal. Like, obviously they're going to be celebrating, and it's a beautiful flower, so why wouldn't they be, putting it on themselves, and why wouldn't they use it as a garnish on their food, and why wouldn't they, yada, yada, yada. So when that twist finally happens, it makes so much sense. And also why they're so against these specific snakes, and the snakes are everywhere on the island.
Right.
And it makes sense that the snakes are, like the antitoxin to the effects, because they probably eat the flowers. Yeah, they're probably ingesting enough of the flowers that their venom is.
There was a little bit of so that was part of the knockdown. I don't expect things in a film like this to be clearly I don't need an explanation. But and it doesn't really bother me much where why it's fine. Like, a native species of snake only in the island, a flower on the island, fair enough. What got me, and one of the reasons that knocked down quite a few points, is how the actual effects of the snake and the potion actually work. Like the what's the level of control? They explain that the stronger the trauma, the faster it forgets. It blocks out trauma. But it doesn't really define what trauma is. I'm guessing that's self-imposed, or maybe things that are considered chemically traumatic to the brain, because people tend to forget things in different levels. And then the other thing is the snake permanent? Because they kill the one girl because she gets bit by a snake, because they just waited for it to wear off. I'm wondering if it just never did. It doesn't really ever explain that very well.
Well, because the snake is venomous, and it's not deadly. He says that the snake won't kill you, but it is venomous. So I'm thinking that because it got injected into her bloodstream, she's immune to the effects of.
Well, the other,
and they don't explain it.
Well, and they treat Simone or that was her name, right? No, wait.
Yes.
No, the main girl.
Oh,
I forgot.
Sarah?
It's like some.
Is it like Sophie or something?
No, like Sedona or I can't. Anyway, she. I don't know. I can forget it. She's important, but
she's only the main character.
I don't remember any of their names.
I don't
any of them. Not even King. His last name was King, and Slater King. That's. I don't remember any of the rest of their names. But that's the thing. Is
they're unique enough that you don't need to remember their names.
And it's surreal. It's more about the people themselves. Their names are less important anyway. But I don't remember any of the rest of them. But anyway, he treats her like he's gonna be able to make her forget again. And I'm like, if she's got the snake venom and it forgot, how is that he going to make? So it makes it feel like it's not permanent. But it was in the one girl's case. So that's just a little unclear.
They probably didn't think it was permanent. And he makes a big deal where he's like, she's not forgetting. So
that's what I wonder. Like, the other girl was like special, like, because it shows her tied up, screaming her head off while they're all being attacked. And I'm wondering if just maybe like they had to kill her because she just night after night she wasn't forgetting, and they finally just ended her in order to stop it.
Well, because she was starting to make plans, and she was going about and she was doing different things.
It may be possible too that she was like taking snake venom on her own or something.
Well, or she was inoculated just because of the fact that it was venomous, because she doesn't tell her what the cure is.
That's the problem for me, is like, you just had to make it clear why they had to kill her, but he didn't kill the other girl. When they're both now not remembering it, they're both remembering things now, but he's like, no, I'll make you forget all over again. I was like, what makes her different? Why'd you have to kill the other girl and not her? That was a big one for me, because it was a big part of the plot that her friend had to die and she didn't. So that knocks quite a few points down, because that's not clear. It's not really clear why one had to die and not the other. So that, and well, he even killed the one girl. I mean, obviously he didn't want to kill her because he felt really close and connected to her. When he says that moment, you're my best friend, he's had her there before. He just enjoys her company. Like, something about her specifically he likes. So I get all that, but he still didn't even. He was sure that he was going to be able to make her forget again. Like, he felt like he could.
Well, because she did. She tried to escape before.
Yes.
And she forgot all of it.
The entire island.
And she came back to him just kind of naturally.
Yeah.
So for him, I think he was just like, okay, well, I've gotten her to forget before. It probably is a thing where there's a scene missing.
That's what I feel.
Explain that, because
even in his little monologue, they could have literally just said, like, he could have been like, you're different. Like, well, he did say you forgot the whole island, so maybe he felt like he could do it again. So maybe that is a little better explained. But it just, in the moment of the film, it goes too quick, and it's the only thing in the entire film I felt was unclear, how the rules of the drug and the antidote work. They just weren't very clear what the guidelines were. So that was just interesting, was that, and a little takeaway. But that's really it. That was the only thing that like really hit. There's a few weird pacing things and some weird choices with some of the characters. It can get a little boring at times. There's a little bit of drag before it hit. I think it takes a little too long.
It takes like 5 minutes too long.
Yeah. It takes a little too long.
Literally is. It's like, it's just short enough, like long enough.
The twist, when the twist finally comes, you're like, okay, the movie's moving. That was a little bit of a problem for me. But other than that, it's just nitpicky stuff. Mostly it's a 7. And I get the 7.5. I probably could even give it an 8. But this is a very simple film. It's easy to follow. It's not really anything like blockbuster amazing. It's just
it is solid for what it is.
Yeah, it's a solid, simple film that does exactly what it sets out to do. Has a few problems. It's not perfect. But hey, it's a 7 out of 10. It's a solid film.
Yep.
It's not bad.
It's not bad. Just overall, the film is really well put together. Like I said before, it moves along. It does what it's supposed to do. It's very solid for what it is.
Yep.
But it is very much what it is.
And it has a really good, which I'm not going to spoil, even though this is spoilers. It has a really good twist in the end that you don't really see coming.
So if you thought we were going to spoil the ending,
that's it for me.
Anyway. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you like this video, once again, let us know. Leave us a like. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you've seen the film, if you're interested in watching the film because of the review, or just, like I said, what movies are you looking forward to as we're moving into the end of the year? Otherwise, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. We try to go to movies relatively often, so we do these new reviews as often as possible, but we also like to watch old movies and revisit them. We're watching bad movies, a little different than what we usually used to do. But we are still getting back into watching bad movies.
Because curb stops hurt us.
Curb stops hurt us so bad. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. See you in the next video.